All right, players. 2025, let's go. What's in the bag? What's in the bag includes the clubs and everything else that's in there. So we'll get started here. We'll start with the clubs. What's in the bag 2025? Driver. I still am using the TSR series. I have the TSR 3, 8 degrees. So Titleist, I'm on staff with Titleist. Most of my clubs are Titleist. Thank you. They take great care of me. I do also have the GT somewhere in the garage, but haven't made friends with it yet. I hit this thing great, so TSR 3 is staying in the bag for now. I've got it set on slight fade, 8 degrees, and weight on the toe side. I tend to hit the toe, I tend to hook it, so those two, the weight on the toe side helps minimize the gear effect off the toe. It also keeps some of those overdraws in play. I currently am using a little bit older model Ventus 6X Velocor shaft in it, normal standard length. I've had the TR. It's a little, doesn't feel as good to me. And they have a new Ventus Plus. I haven't hit it yet. But this shaft, I've just put this shaft into, I think, all the different driver heads over the last several years. It just fits me really well. All of my grips are Golf Pride, Tour Velvet MCC +4 mid-size. The +4 means they have a little less taper. I can choke down on them without it feeling small. That's just my preference. And I regrip these clubs. I regrip all my clubs about once a year, and I particularly the ones that I use the most, the driver, the lob wedge, I might regrip those several times a year. That's the driver. Second up, so I'm starting off with just the standard sets. This is a set I would take to start it, if I was just going to play any random course. There are some clubs that I might mix and match. I'll get into those at the end. But the standard setup is, my next club will be a 3-wood Titleist GT3. It's the new one. It's the 15 degree. I've got the weight set on neutral, the hosel set on slightly open. It's a little dirty on the top there. That's unfortunate. Luckily, it's just a little water. They gave it to me with a 10C 1K black shaft in it. It's really stiff. Normally I like Ventus products in my shafts for these clubs, but this one I never had a reason to switch it. I hit it really good. It's probably the best 3-wood I've had in a long time. Love it. And stock yardages, Colorado driver, probably carry average 310, 320, rolling out hopefully 330, 340. My 3-wood off the tee carries 285, 280. Off the ground, probably more like 270 because we hit it lower on the face on the ground typically than off the tee, and that causes even if we smoke it, usually we'll have a little more backspin, so it doesn't go quite as far off the ground. I used to think it would go the same, but it just doesn't. I've done enough testing to know. All right, next up in the bag, I have a hybrid. It hasn't always been in the bag. It's been in the bag for a while now. It's not a Titleist. Callaway Apex. It's an old one. 2 reasons I like this one. It's kind of a small profile, and it's a fairly flat face, not very gear effecty. It's also one of the few hybrids where you can adjust the hosel down, so I've got it bent a little flat, just like the rest of my irons and clubs, so that it tends to hook a little bit less. I also have it a little shorter than standard. I'm not trying to hit this thing far, I'm trying to hit it findable. Stock carry distance on this might be like 260, 265. I'll go down with 4-iron. It's a Titleist T200, so different than the rest of my iron set. The T200 is hollow, kind of rocket launchy. It goes really far. In all my iron shafts, I've got just Dynamic Gold X100s, playing 2 degrees flat, 1/4 inch over on the specs. That's for all irons, except for my wedges, which is 3 degrees flat. This thing, I love this thing. It goes far. I think 240, 245 carry, and doesn't get me in too much trouble. Now the 5-iron, currently I've got the T100, and this is last year's model, so it doesn't quite match my other ones. I also have a T150, which goes a little further, but I found that it was going a little too far, so I went back to the T100, which is the little bit less rocket launchy, a little bit weaker lofted. It goes a little higher. I sacrificed about 10 yards in distance, and it does make a little bit of a gap between my 5-iron and my 4-iron, but honestly, I'm not super worried about. a gap at that range. My 4-iron carries about 240, this carries about 220. So it's a little bigger gap than maybe I would like, maybe 215. No, this is about 220. But the other one almost carries a little too far, comes off a little too hot. And that is the old one, because when I ordered my last set of irons, I didn't get 5-iron. And then the rest of my irons are just T100s, 6 through 9. They're not quite a blade, of course. They're not a CB, but they aren't, they're not giving me a bunch of help on distance, which I like. I don't need something that goes any farther than normal. So that's 6, 7, 8, 9 yardages on those. 215, 195, 180, 165, down to 9-iron. And then we get into the wedges. Wedges are a little different. I've got SM10s. Pretty cool. Got some custom stamping on there. I go 46. I'll just give you the grinds. 46.10F, 52.12F, 56.10S, 60.10M. I will replace the lob wedge this year. I try to replace my lob wedge every year for some new grooves. And the rest of them, I replace them every 2 years when Titleist comes out with new ones. These ones have a little customization just because they do that for me with Titleist. So I've got some custom ferrules, black and gold stamps. These come with Dynamic Gold Tour Shoe S400 shafts, which are not quite as stiff as my irons, but they're still very heavy. Probably the most popular wedge shaft on tour. A lot of people wonder if they're graphite. They're just black, kind of oxidized or painted black. So they're still steel shafts. And then same grips and everything. These are the same spec as my irons, except they are a little bit flatter. I like my wedges to be a little flatter just to make it easier to open them up around the greens, and also it prevents like the hot left shot, which is probably the worst shot you can hit with a wedge, I mean. And then finally the putter. So first of all, I love this putter cover. Got it at King's Barnes last year on a trip to Scotland. Get a lot of comments on it. Switch putters from maybe the last video. I've got a Titleist 7.5. What is this, Phantom? Yeah, Phantom 7.5. In Titleist, the 0.5 means it has a slant neck instead of like the double goose bend, which makes it hang a little more toe down, more like a traditional blade. Fits my stroke. I roll it really good. There's a lot of, comments and talk out there in the industry right now about how putters balance with, now there's line angle balance, lab putters, zero torque, square to square. A lot of companies are following that, and I have no problem with that. I think there's a lot of good in that, but I have seen no reason to change from this one. I prefer smaller grips. I've got the Lambkin, it's called the Sink Fit Skinny grip on there, and I think this putter is a tiny bit under a 35. It's like 34.75. I think I cut just a tiny bit off of there. I've been playing this putter for almost a year and have no complaints about it. It looks great. From the top. Yeah, pretty traditional. It's like a Odyssey 7 or anything like that. Malady, but a little toe hang on it. So those are the clubs. Oh yeah, I do have a backup, not a backup. I've got some clubs on deck. So these are clubs that I might replace a hybrid or a 3-wood with. I've got a Rip Roarin 2-iron. It's an older U500. Really nice graphite shaft. This is a murdery long driving iron. It goes really low and goes really far. So if I'm playing somewhere where I might need this off the tee, maybe a windy day, I might put this in the bag in place of the hybrid. I also carry, I also have at my disposal, I've got like a 5-wood, I think a 7-wood. I've got 5-wood, 7-woods, variety of different ones. I can just put a couple of these different shafts in there and have any loft I need. So if I'm playing a course where I might want like a high second shot into a par 5. The one that always comes to mind is like 18 at Green Valley Ranch. If I can hit a super high shot from 260, 270, that might be a nice shot to have. So maybe for that course, I might put one of those in play over, say, the hybrid or the 3-wood. And then I also have a mini driver. Titleist is coming out with a mini driver this year. I haven't seen it. It's not available yet. I'm excited to get one. I will get one. But in the meantime, I've got a couple-year-old TaylorMade mini driver. It is super short, like shorter than most people's 3-woods, probably 5-wood length. I have it set on 13.5. I've got a bunch of extra weight in the toe because I shortened it so much. This can replace a 3-wood if I have a lot of tee shots that maybe need to go like 300 on the button or 310 on the button where there's a lot of bottlenecks. I used this a lot at US Open Finals 2 years ago up in Bend, Oregon. That course was bottleneck every hole at 310. My driver was a little too much. This is easier to hit off a tee than a 3-wood. So that will go in the bag depending on the course as well. It used to be always in there, but I find that sometimes it's hard to hit this off the ground in the air. It kind of comes off kind of low. The sweet spots are really high compared to the turf. So I sometimes rather have a 3-wood. 3-wood's a little more versatile. So that is what is in the bag for 2025 going into the season. All right, continuing on with what's in the bag, everything but the clubs. So this is everything else that goes in the golf bag that I might need to play golf. So starting on the outside, got your golf towel. Now, preference on the towel, I buy these like center stripe ones on Amazon you buy like a 6-pack for 20 bucks. They're really crappy towels, right? They're not the kind you'd want to use after a shower. They're not very big. They're perfect for golf because you can get in the grooves, and I don't care if I lose one because I get them 6 at a time. I've got a pile of them, right? Pile of them right here for just such an occasion. That way, pile of 7, 8 towels. Play around. You got your dirty towel, you throw it on the floor, get a fresh one. Lose one, no big deal. I don't know. I'm not a guy that buys fancy towels or logo towels or towels that I'm attached to because I don't want to care if I lose one. Also on the outside of the bag, I got my gloves. Side note, if there's one thing that golfers in general do not have enough of, it's gloves. Like, you have no idea how many lessons I give where I forgot my glove and I'm like, glove? Don't you have gloves, in the bag, more than one? I usually have a couple of gloves on the outside in various conditions. They start off as tournament gloves right out of the pack. After a couple tournament rounds, they turn into casual round gloves, and then they turn into practice gloves, and then eventually they just turn into, junkers that I have here on my side. They're trashed, right? But they are okay for like garage golf, speed stick training, stuff like that. So they degrade over time, but having a glove is a problem. That means that you get done with your round, your glove is in your pocket, it ends up on the passenger seat of your car, and the next time you play golf, you don't have your glove. Or you go home and your glove is in your back pocket, and you do the laundry, and now your glove is sitting on your dresser, and you don't have your glove. Like, have gloves, plural. I usually have 2 or 3 on the outside of my bag in various states of decay, used ones, and then probably 2 or 3 brand new ones. I've got like 5 or 6 gloves. I'm never without a glove. So buy more than one glove at a time. What can I say? Okay, going inside the bag. I already went through my extra glove. I need actually a couple more. I go Titleist player's glove. These are the ones I use. Boom, medium, large. And I usually like to have a couple extras in the bag. My bag is getting low, so I'll restock. In the big pocket, I've got my laser. It's the Bushnell. It's not the newest, it's their second newest one. There's a lot of features on this laser. I've got it currently, since I'm not playing tournament golf in the winter, I've got it set on slope mode. It also has a mode you can connect it to your phone via an app, via Bluetooth, and it'll calculate stuff to your home altitude. So for example, if I go to sea level, I can laser it and it'll tell me not only the actual yardage, the adjusted yardage, it'll also tell me what it would be in Colorado. I don't really use that feature that much, but it's a cool, good rangefinder. I should probably put my name on this, name and number, just in case I lose it and somebody turns it in, but we'll do that another day. Also in my bag, I've got my golf sunglasses. These are for golf only. I use golf-specific Oakley Prism lenses. They're not polarized, very light colored. They're not very dark, so I can wear these almost any light conditions, especially in Colorado. The sun gets harsh. I wear them all day. They keep the allergens out of my eyes. They keep the wind out of my eyes. They keep the sand out of my eyes if I'm in a bunker or make a big divot. They just protect your eyes. I do like playing in sunglasses most of the time. What else? I got old scorecard. That's trash. I've got some spray-on sunscreen in case you need to reapply. I have 2 kinds of sunscreen that I use generally. What I like to do, sunscreen-wise, is I like to put the sunscreen on right after I get out of the shower, like before I play golf, if possible. Like you're out of the shower, you haven't, you put your sunscreen on so there's a chance to get into your skin for a few minutes before you put your like shirt on, okay? If you're wearing like a white shirt and you're standing there on the first tee putting the sunscreen on your neck, your shirt's gonna turn yellow and it's gonna be ruined pretty quick. So if you just let that sunscreen soak in, I've got specific I think Neutrogena Clear Face for my face, 50, and then I use just some kind of product. I usually use just the wipe on. This is just, the spray is just for reapplying. If I find myself out on the course starting to feel cooked, I'll just hose that on me. Other stuff in this pocket, I've got a grip towel. So this is like a Gorilla Gold. This is really handy actually. It's like it's a towel that's got this like a resinous, sticky stuff on it. It's really, really sticky. And so if my grips are starting to wear out, or if I'm playing in the rain, or if I'm playing in super humidity, I'll take this out of the pack and basically you press on this like resin. It makes your grips really sticky. At first it's almost too sticky, to be honest. So I was hesitant to use it the first time, but it kind of wears off over the course of a round or two, but it definitely improves grip. I definitely recommend that you can get it on Amazon. It's like $5 or $10. Gorilla Gold Grip Enhancer. Especially if you have sweaty hands, it's excellent. All right, next pocket. This is my like self-care pocket. So I've got eye drops, I wear contacts. I've got a couple extra contact lenses in there in case one flies out. I've got my Advil. I've got some extra sunscreen lip balm. I've got a couple of coins for ball marks and maybe a divot tool, although I usually don't carry that in my pocket. I usually fix my ball marks with just a tee. But if the greens are really squishy and I need a tool, I'll have that. As far as ball markers go, I'm old school or maybe just simple. I just use quarters. I'm not a fan of the big poker chips or the fancy $10 ball markers because I always lose them. I just don't have any superstition that way, so I just use a quarter. And then finally in this pocket, I maybe shouldn't say, I got an AirTag. AirTag for, clubs get lost, clubs get stolen. They're handy for, when you're traveling at the airport, knowing if your club's made it or not. That's that self-care pocket. Next one, my quick access pocket. I've got some extra batteries for my laser. I buy them 3 or 4 at a time just in case. That way my laser's always running. I've got a Bushnell. Oops, throw that on the ground. I've got a Bushnell Phantom. This is a cheap, old, making a mess here. This is an older model. It's just a simple GPS. You turn it on, it just finds the course. There's no downloading or anything. I think I've gone through a few of these. They tend to get lost or break. I buy them used online for like $50. The main reason I have this is to find golf balls in the native. So if I'm playing a course and the cart doesn't have GPS or I have to walk and I hit a ball off target towards native, this has a feature where you can hit like a button on the side that says shot and it'll measure how far away this is from wherever you hit the mark button. So if I know my line is out there towards that electrical box and I know I hit that drive off the heel about 270, I walk out there to 270 on this, start looking, and it helps me narrow my search radius down. It also gives, front, middle, back, real basic stuff. It doesn't have any cool graphics or anything, but it's actually pretty useful for finding golf balls. That's about all I've got in that pocket. And then I've got ball pocket in there. You gotta have a wrench for making adjustments on your clubs, tightening them up, stuff like that. I've got my finger tape, which I actually should apply because my thumb is splitting. So this is for finger splits, hot spots, blisters. It's like Johnson & Johnson Coach's tape. It's cloth tape. This particular kind works best for me. It's a big roll, but I split it in half like so. And apply it to any parts of my fingers. You can also use it if you're starting to blister up on your feet or really anything. It's just good to have some tape in the bag. You can use it to fix a broken zipper or any kind of stuff you might need some tape for. But I've got some dry splits on my thumb. It's the middle of winter, and so I might tape my thumb up, something like that, to play golf, or just to not have every single thing hurt when I touch it. I also got some tees in here, and then I've got some, I guess we'll call it wrist tape. It's joint tape. It's like, sometimes I get little twinges in my wrist, so I might wrap that really tight. It's just cloth tape. All right, next pocket. What else? Trash pocket. I've got my electrolyte pocket here. This is where I keep all my, like, you know, powders for the water bottles. I've got like electrolytes. I've got some caffeinated ones. So if you're on the course and you need a little caffeine boost, I've got that. Or if I just want to hit some liquid IV or LMNT or whatever your electrolyte drink of choice is, I feel like it makes the water taste better. It makes you more likely to drink it. And then in the side pocket here, another scorecard. It's trash. And I've got all my snacks in here. I also have my rain gloves handy. Rain gloves are really good. They're good for winter too, honestly. They keep your hands warm in the winter. In Colorado, we don't play much in the rain, but if I'm traveling for golf, Bandon Dunes, Pebble Beach, whatever, sometimes it's raining and you're playing, rain gloves, you can just get, it doesn't matter how wet they get, they work. So everybody should probably have one pair. I've owned this pair for, I don't know, 15 years. I use them 4 or 5 times a year, but when you need them, you need them. Which brings me to like rain gear, like same idea. So it's not in my bag right now because I was traveling, but you know, every golfer should have a little bit of rain gear. And I would generally not skimp on it. Like, get a nice set of rain gear. It'll last you for a long time. You know, there's times, especially not in Colorado, when you might be playing somewhere that's an epic golf trip type of a course, Scotland, Bandon, Pebble. You're playing even if it's raining, because usually it's not lightning. And a good set of rain gear, you know, buy it once. It might cost you $800 for the set, $1,000. It's a lot, yes, but you'll use it. You know, you can use it for 10 years before it starts to wear out. Also with the rain pants are a great layering element for, like, you're going to Arizona, you're teeing off at 9 o'clock, there's a frost delay, it's freezing, you want to wear shorts because it's going to be 80 later, but wear shorts with your rain pants over it. That's pretty much the college golf playbook right there. Shorts with rain pants over it's a great layering, great way to layer for you know, particularly cold morning rounds or Arizona rounds, stuff like that. In here, I've also got my used golf ball section. So these are ones that I've played rounds with that aren't totally shot. I might practice with those. They might turn into my, like, garage golf balls. Or if my round's really going to hell and I got like 3 holes left and I lose a ball, I might bust one of those out for the last 3 holes. It's not a tournament, just so I'm not breaking out a new one. I do play Titleist Pro V1 Left Dash. Pro V1X Left Dash is my ball of choice. Those ones. They are kind of firm. They don't spin quite as hard as the Pro V1X or the Pro V1, but because they're firm, they go far. So they go really far, they spin plenty, they go high. That seems to fit me the best. And then I got my pouch of random stuff, which is your markers for golf balls, Sharpie Extreme for the golf ball, line them up tools. I've got like fingernail clippers in here, some Neosporin, some extra chapsticks, just random, whatever little things you might need on the course. Go in that little pouch. And I think that about does it for what is in the bag, non-club edition. What else is there? I do have a rain cover that's often in the bag. Actually, I'll put that back in there. Good for rainy days if you're in a cart, or not in a cart. I mean, should be in the bag at all times. It doesn't take up much space. Your golf bag comes with one. You might not know what it is. It's in there. It's like this little hood that usually there's some clips on some buttons on it that match up with the top of your bag. It's good for rainy days when you're trying to keep things dry. Also, not in the bag at the moment, but it's good to have a golf umbrella especially for golf trips. Although when it's really rainy, you might not need them. Finally, I guess I have some solar sleeves for super sunny days, especially if I'm walking, which is rare, but super sunny day and it's maybe not super hot. I'm gonna try to minimize the sun exposure. And I also typically will have like a little bucket hat in my bag for that same occasion, trying to keep minimize the sun exposure as much as I reasonably can. And there you have it, golf bag. My golf bag itself it's a stand bag. It's like the Titleist staff stand bag, so it's a little heavier and bigger than like a lightweight one, but It's just got 4 slots. I don't like that many slots personally. It's got a stand on it. It's you know, I have staff bags over here in the garage, but those are kind of impractical for everyday use. This one's just a good all-arounder. I can carry it if I need to. I can fit everything I want to in it, and if and it's easy to, you know, get out of the car, fit on the cart, etc. I think that's it. Oh, I usually also have these. I took them out for my last trip. I usually also have alignment sticks for the range, for teaching, and I do like having a cover for your alignment sticks because these sticks, I see it all the time in my students' bags. If you ever look at your driver and you see the top and it's got all kinds of little like scratches on the top, like where did they come from? Not the idiot mark ones when you sky the driver, but like the scratches just randomly on the crown. It's from when an alignment stick gets under the head cover. So if you don't have a cover on your alignment stick and this stick gets under here, which happens all the time, it'll live under there and scratch the heck out of your driver. So I like alignment stick covers. You can get them for cheap on Amazon for like $10, or you can get a fancy one for $100, whatever floats your boat. Oh, one more thing that was not in my bag because I had taken it out to take some yardage books out. One more thing that's in the bag normally is my yardage book cover. Let me get some of this stuff out here I had. So my yardage book cover, I've got one from Omni, they're great. In here I've got my yardages. So let's see, I got my yardages, I got my sea level yardages on one side of this. This is like, it's not quite laminated, but it's like printed out. And then I've got my altitude yardages, so mountains for altitude, waves for sea level. So I've got my yardage card, and then I'll put my yardage book in if it's a course I'm, you know, going to be playing where I want to get a yardage book. If you do want to get yardage books, I like Putt View the best. Strakaline is also really good. I wouldn't get this for one-offs. They're like $50 a pop. But if you have a big event, a tournament, somewhere you're going to play every year, let's say you go and you play a certain course every year. I mean, the mapping is unbelievable. The greens, it's got all the information you could ever want. So I use these for all my tournament rounds here in Colorado and any like big time kind of tournament golf trips. So this is one of my upcoming events is at Pebble Beach. So I've got my 3 Pebble Beach course pack there. Make sure to bring those for the tournament, and then I'll go in this yardage holder. Might be overkill for a lot of you, but that's just what's in my bag, right? All right, final thing I forgot in the last video. What's in the bag, what's on the bag is a club brush. So you're hitting a lot of balls, you got to clean the grooves out. You use the wire end for your irons and your wedges. If you need the plastic one for I usually don't use the plastic one for anything. I would be fine with just the wire one. The plastic one would be for like hybrids, head cover clubs, drivers and stuff. But you know, it's good to have clean grooves. Grooves make a way bigger difference than you would think. And so I just have this hanging on the side of my bag on like a fly fishing zinger. So never goes anywhere. I can give the grooves a quick scrub whenever I need to, whether it's on the course or after a range session or whatever. But that's, it's important enough to me to add on to the video just to show it. All right, last thing for this video, let's talk about traveling for golf. It's winter. You might be getting on a plane to go somewhere. So this is specifically for getting on a plane to go somewhere. So I'm not actually going to do it because I'm not traveling for a couple of weeks, but here's the steps. First off, travel bag. I use a club glove, pretty much the standard on tour, soft. This one's called the Last Bag. It's lifetime warranty. They're kind of pricey, but you'll only need one for your whole life. Lifetime warranty on those things. The reason I like soft ones over the hard cases is because the hard case is just more unwieldy to haul with you. It's harder to get in the rental car. I don't know if it provides as much protection as they would say. I've never had a club break on a flight. I'm not saying it's because I'm lucky. I do try to do everything I can do to minimize that risk, which I'll show you here in a second. But I think just a good soft travel case is all you need. I think if you look at the majority of guys that travel full-time, tour players and stuff, they're going to be using the soft ones more so than the hard ones. Not saying you shouldn't have a hard one, just there's some trade-offs there, right? You can't fit the hard one in the rental car, it doesn't break down, it's just it's huge, right? This one folds up a little bit, you know, when you get to the hotel room, when you have to load up the rental car, etc. So we got the travel bag. First thing we're going to do with the clubs is we're going to take all of our Any club cover, or any club head that comes off, we're going to unscrew that. Unscrew the driver head, stick it in the head cover, stick it in the big side pocket. Unscrew the 3-wood, stick it in the side pocket. Before you unscrew them, make sure you take a picture with your phone of the settings on the hosel, whatever, so that when you get to your destination, you don't have to remember, okay, how did I have my driver set? Was it B1? Is it draw +2? What is it? Take a picture of the hosel settings, take them apart, put the heads in the head covers, in the side pocket, and then you're gonna take the shaft, stick the shaft upside down with the grip side up and stick it in the bag. So you'll have 2 or 3 shafts, grip end up, coming out the top of the bag. Your bag will also be a little bit shorter with your longest clubs taken apart. So that's step 1. Step 2 is we're gonna take 1 or 2 towels around this, your main set of clubs. Actually, before we do that, I would recommend getting something like this. This is from Club Glove, I believe. Actually, it's Tour Trek. You don't have to spend too much on this. It's just a club shield. It's like a telescoping thing with a hard hat on top. So I'll stick that in the bag next. I'm gonna just take these drivers out because they wouldn't be this long. This would be my longest setup. Usually I don't bring my alignment sticks on a golf trip either because they're long and I don't really need them. We put that in the bag, get it the right height so all your clubs are underneath it. All right, all your clubs are underneath it, and then we're gonna start filling up this space with towels. We're gonna wrap our clubs real tight with a couple of golf towels. We probably wanna bring a couple for a golf trip. It might be rainy. Some places you go, the towels won't dry if you're somewhere wet, so you might want a different towel every day. But we're gonna wrap that up super tight, and then we're gonna stick that in the travel case. That's step 2 or whatever step we're on. From there, we're gonna fill out the rest of the space. We're gonna get as much stuff in here along the top. Set this up here. I'm gonna get as much stuff in here. So I like to put my shoes in here along the top, kind of covering this, and then along the sides. Think about where injuries to your clubs and shafts might happen. So the sides of the bag might have my rain gear, some extra golf balls, and in my backpack I have a little scale, like a luggage scale. 50 pounds is the norm, so I'll put it right up to like 49.5 on the scale, and try to make sure everything's really compact, and then stuff it into my travel bag and pull all the straps tight. A couple other things for travel, I like to bring usually at least 2 pairs of shoes, comfy ones if you're planning on walking, breathable ones if you're going to Arizona maybe, it's gonna be hot, waterproof ones if you're going to Bandon. But make sure that, if you're walking a lot, just make sure they're not like brand new out of the box, because your feet will be killing you if you have any blister problems. And then finally, I usually will have like a travel steamer in my luggage. It's like the handiest thing ever, because you get there, you don't have to bust out the ironing board, your golf clothes. You can just run the steamer over them. It takes 3 minutes, and you're ready to not look like you just got off a plane and pulled your $150 golf shirt out of a duffel bag, right? As far as other stuff for travel, I think from a golf perspective, that's about it. Everything else is just normal travel stuff. You bring your headphones and your backpack and reading materials. But yeah, that's it. That's it. I also like to put an air tag in my main luggage, that's just general travel stuff. But the big thing with the golf bag is just taking the driver heads off, 3-wood heads off, wrapping everything up real tight, getting your shoes up around here, and then making sure the weight isn't over 50. You'll be good to go.